You've heard the claims. Vaping is safer than smoking. It's just water vapor. It's a harmless way to quit cigarettes or unwind after a stressful day. But here's what they don't tell you. Your body at 40 isn't the same as it was at 20. Those lungs have been working overtime for decades, your heart has pumped millions of gallons of blood, and your immune system isn't bouncing back like it used to. When you add vaping into the mix, you're not just inhaling flavored air. You're introducing a cocktail of chemicals into an aging respiratory system that's already fighting an uphill battle. Today, we're uncovering the truth about what vaping really does to your body after 40, and why that harmless habit might be putting both you and your family at serious risk. The rise of vaping in the 40-plus demographic. The vaping industry wants you to believe their products are designed for young adults trying to look cool. The reality? Adults over 40 represent one of the fastest-growing segments of new vapors. Between 2017 and 2022, vaping among adults aged 40 to 65 increased by 73%. These aren't rebellious teenagers. They're professionals, parents, and grandparents who've been sold a lie. Many started vaping as a healthier alternative to cigarettes. Others picked it up during the pandemic as a stress reliever. Some were introduced to it by their adult children, who convinced them it was basically harmless. The marketing is sophisticated and targeted. Sleek devices that look like USB drives. Flavors that mask the harshness. Claims about being 95% safer than cigarettes. A statistic that's been debunked by multiple health organizations but continues to circulate. What's particularly concerning is how the industry specifically targets midlife health concerns. Ads emphasize cleaner ingredients, promote vaping as a way to avoid the smell and social stigma of cigarettes, and even suggest it can help with weight management. Something that resonates with people dealing with slower metabolisms and changing body composition after 40. That 95% safer claim comes from a single 2015 study examining chemical composition, not real health outcomes. It ignored how aging bodies process chemicals differently and the cumulative damage over years of use. After 40, your body's repair mechanisms are already slowing down. Your cardiovascular system works harder to maintain function. Adding vaping accelerates aging processes that are already compromising your health. The most dangerous part? Most adults over 40 treat vaping like drinking coffee, a lifestyle choice rather than a drug habit. This casual attitude prevents recognition of early warning signs. The secondhand vapor myth. Your family's hidden risk. Before we dive into what vaping does to your body, let's address the elephant in the room: your family's exposure. The vaping industry has successfully convinced millions that it's just water vapor that quickly dissipates. This is dangerously false. Secondhand vapor contains the same toxic chemicals you're inhaling, just in lower concentrations. For your grandchildren, whose lungs are still developing, even small amounts of formaldehyde, acetaldehyde, and ultrafine particles can trigger asthma, reduce lung function, and increase their risk of respiratory infections. A 2022 study found that children living with adults who vaped indoors had nicotine levels in their blood equivalent to light smoking exposure. Your aging spouse or partner faces different risks. Adults over 50 have weakened immune systems that struggle to clear these foreign particles. The metals from vape coils, including chromium, nickel, and lead, accumulate in household dust and on surfaces where your family lives and breathes. Unlike cigarette smoke that you can smell and avoid, vape residue is odorless and lingers for hours after you've finished. The cruelest irony? Many adults start vaping specifically to protect their families from cigarette smoke, not realizing they've simply traded one form of exposure for another. Your lungs face an even more immediate threat. By age 40, you've already lost about 10 to 15% of your peak lung capacity. The tiny air sacs in your lungs, called alveoli, are less elastic than they used to be. When you introduce the chemicals found in vape aerosol, including formaldehyde, acetaldehyde, and acrolein, into this already compromised system, you're creating a perfect storm for respiratory problems. By age 40, those tiny air sacs in your lungs, your alveoli, have become like old, brittle rubber bands that can no longer snap back to their original shape. You've already lost 10 to 15% of your peak lung capacity. When you flood these fragile, aging tissues with vape chemicals, you're essentially throwing acid on already weathered fabric. The damage happens fast, and it's permanent. Let's talk about what's really happening inside your body when you vape after 40. Your cardiovascular system, which has been faithfully serving you for 4 decades, faces new challenges with every puff. Nicotine causes immediate spikes in blood pressure and heart rate. At 25, your heart might handle these spikes without breaking a sweat. At 45, when you may already be dealing with the early stages of atherosclerosis or elevated cholesterol, these repeated stress responses can push you towards serious cardiac events. A 2021 study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that adults over 40 who vaped had a 56% higher risk of heart attack compared to non-users. But here's what makes it worse. Many of these adults had no idea they were at risk. They felt fine, passed basic health screenings, and assumed vaping was a minor concern compared to other health issues they were monitoring. Your lungs face an even more immediate threat. By age 40, you've already lost about 10 to 15% of your peak lung capacity. The tiny air sacs in your lungs, called alveoli, are less elastic than they used to be. When you introduce the chemicals found in vape aerosol, including formaldehyde, acetaldehyde, and acrolein, into this already compromised system, you're creating a perfect storm for respiratory problems. Unlike smoking damage that accumulates over decades, vaping can cause acute lung injury in weeks. EVALI has hospitalized thousands, with the highest rates in adults 35 to 55. Johns Hopkins research found adults over 450 showed measurable lung function decreases after just 6 months of vaping. These changes don't reverse when you quit. They represent permanent damage to organs you'll need for the rest of your life. Your midlife immune system becomes overwhelmed processing constant chemical influx, leaving you vulnerable to infections. During COVID-19, adults over 40 who vaped had higher severe illness rates and slower recovery. The inflammation doesn't stay in your lungs. It triggers system-wide responses that accelerate cellular aging. You're essentially speeding up wrinkle development, joint problems, and cognitive decline while trying to slow these processes through healthy lifestyle choices. Nicotine addiction hits differently after 40 because your brain chemistry has fundamentally changed. Dopamine production naturally declines during midlife, the same neurotransmitter nicotine hijacks for addiction. With lower baseline dopamine, nicotine provides a more dramatic boost, making the habit feel more necessary and rewarding. For women, declining estrogen affects nicotine processing. As estrogen drops, nicotine stays in your system longer, creating stronger cravings. Many start vaping during menopause for mood management, only to find themselves trapped in dependency. Men face declining testosterone after fertility, affecting mood and stress response. Nicotine feels like a necessary coping mechanism, but it actually suppresses testosterone production, creating a downward spiral requiring more nicotine for the same effects. Nicotine disrupts already compromised midlife sleep. Adults over 40 who vape take longer to fall asleep, wake more frequently, and feel less rested. Poor sleep increases cortisol, creating more nicotine cravings. Withdrawal symptoms are more intense for older adults. While young people experience days of irritability, adults over 40 deal with weeks or months of anxiety, depression, and cognitive fog. This isn't weakness. Your brain has fewer resources to adapt, and your body takes longer to re-establish balance. While vaping doesn't produce tar or carbon monoxide, it creates different risks equally dangerous for aging bodies. Cigarette damage accumulates over decades. Vaping can cause acute injury in months. Many vape products contain higher nicotine concentrations than cigarettes. A single Juul pod equals a pack of cigarettes worth of nicotine, delivered more efficiently for faster addiction. We have 70 years of smoking research. With vaping, we're conducting a real-time experiment on millions of adults. Early results are alarming, but full long-term effects won't be known for another decade, potentially too late for current users to reverse damage. Your body after 40 deserves better than being a test subject for the vaping industry's latest experiment. The chemicals you're inhaling aren't just affecting your lungs, they're accelerating every aspect of aging, from your cardiovascular system to your brain chemistry. The harmless water vapor you've been told about is actually a complex mixture of metals, chemicals, and toxins that your body struggles to process and eliminate. If you're currently vaping, talk to your doctor about cessation strategies designed for adults. Your future self will thank you for making the choice to breathe clean air instead of corporate promises.